morning.
Are we ready then?
Yep.
Okay, I'll
Set.
call the meeting to order in the absence of Mike. It's right at 5 o'clock. So we've got an agenda before us. So right now, we'd like to ask if there's any additions or corrections or comments about the agenda. Seeing none, in order, motion is in order to approve the agenda.
So move. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. The minutes were distributed for everybody to look at, and we'd like to have, also, we had the payments that were also looked at, or sent out so that we could look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So then we could make a motion to approve the minutes and the payment bills to the consent agenda. Is there any questions? None. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Down to
Should
library.
we do the roll call?
Oh, you're right. I should have a roll call. Sorry. I'll start and we'll go around this way. That's clockwise. I'm Kevin LaVore. I'm the vice president and chairing the meeting tonight.
Nancy Jaguar, trustee.
Ennell Limvier, trustee.
Sarah McManus, trustee.
Sue McClone, trustee.
Amanda St. John, library director.
Erica Turnus, librarian.
Now we're up to the director's report.
Super duper. Let's just get there. Some in here. I do know that one of the things I wanted to talk about is just give everybody an update on the lighting project, because the board provided direction at the last meeting to go ahead and have Erica, to pursue the more recessed lighting for the rooms with the lower ceiling. They're more than happy to do that. We're waiting for product to come in for a sample to be installed, so we haven't had scheduling on the rest of the project. I think that's just fine. I can also give you a little update on the spigot that I've needed to go as far as Duluth. I do believe that Jamar will be sending a technician to get measurements and sizes. They're pretty sure they can do this job for us, and then they'll give us a quote, and then they'll come back to do the work. I double-sided things there. It's right there. I wanted to thank everybody for helping send me to the Public Library Association conference and supporting me on the backside of my scholarship there. I had such a wonderful time. The really big part of the experience for me was just being able to see myself on a national level inside of a picture of what library work is all about and what's going on, and what the pulse is. Some of the sessions that I attended, I would like to talk about the one on small business, like supporting your small business and telling meaningful stories to them. Our strategic plan that we're going to talk about later today talks about making robust community involvement, where we're wanting to establish partnerships with 3 businesses to provide extended library service in the community. And one of the ways that we get to hear from businesses what more we can do for them is by telling our story to them of what we're already doing, how we are of value, and what we do as a library. And one of the things that this session talked about was building relationships with entrepreneurs, trying to get to know who's making what businesses, what can we do to support them, exchanging what each of us does. Another tier is connecting with the support organizations for small businesses. So that's reaching out to CCHE, who does all of the certificates and the trainings that people can take to help skill build. and also the small business development center with like Pat Campanero and things like that. And then, of course, with staff, just helping everyone have language that they can use to support entrepreneurs as they're walking through the door, people trying to start their businesses. Like, hey, here are all these things that we're already doing well, and we can do them for you too, which is we're providing Wi-Fi. We've got small meeting rooms. We've got computers and printing, and you can do it from your phone, and you can print your blueprints, and you can print the labels for your makeup products and all of these things right here at the library. So that was really cool to experience and think about, especially for us here in Cook County.
Yes.
Another thing that I experienced was I got to hear the author Shola Richards. He wrote the book Go Together and also Making Work Work. And like a big part of his message was if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And it just had me really thinking about how all of the pieces of us come together, where we have the library board doing all this important work on budget setting and on strategic planning and setting those priorities and supporting the library director and the library in their work, and how you have the library friends creating advocacy for the library and talking about what we do really well, and how you have staff who are taking the lead on translating our priorities into action and operations. And I also think about our liaisons, like we on our board would have a city councilor and a commissioner, and the Arrowhead Library System liaison, who's Karin Gulstrand, all reaching out and touching different parts of our community to make sure that we can provide the best public service possible. So these are things that I got to take away from PLA. Thank you so much for sending me. And I had a little note from Karin, and now I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it, but I can send that out to you later. Do you have any questions for me right now?
No.
Okay, all done.
Right. So now we're up to the 2025 budget.
Okay.
Awesome. I have never had so many pieces of paper to fuss through, and I'm embarrassed, but I've got to do it again because it's in here somewhere. We are coming up on what we call budget season, and just with having Nancy on board for the first time and just going through a refresh with everybody to peek ahead and see what that's like. I can do it without my notes, but I did a good job. Oh, well. Okay, budget season. Number one, the library has a joint powers agreement with the county, which means that even as a city municipal library, we get 50% of our funding from the county. That 50% is less the amount that they pay to the Arrowhead Library System. And so we have to step back and say, Arrowhead Library System as a regional public library system has a job to do to make sure that library access is available to everyone in our region. And they do that through financial partnership with counties. So the county already subscribes to Arrowhead Library System and pays them something in the amount of $29,000 a year. And then so we consider that a part of their contribution or payment, even though it does not come directly to us. And that creates the 50% that they pay for. So when we do the budget, you'll see that amount always listed. When we are setting a budget, we're talking about the 211 budget, the operational budget, and not the 215 reserves. However, as we learned last year, it's really valuable for us to be fluent in what our 215 is, what it does, and why it can't be used specifically to in an operational capacity in a perpetual way, if that makes sense. So again, we're going to be setting the 211 operational budget, which is tax dollars.
Okay.
Then we have a timeline, and the timeline looks something like this. At the next board meeting, at the May board meeting, I will bring to you a draft or a few drafts of budgets that you can consider, and I'll talk about how they'll perform for you. And then you can either adopt one on the spot, or you can ask for revisions and bring me back in June. But we really want to have something in place by the end of June. If the board needs to, they can call an additional meeting. We have to have that posted for 72 hours. So it'll be like day 4 after we meet if you wanted to do something like that. After we have it and the board approves something that they'd like to provide to the city council, then I take that, I give it to the administrator who brings it before the council. They'll review it in one of the 2 meetings in July. They could, if they needed to, ask us to come, talk to them a second or third time, and there's a little bit of a time period where that can happen, so that they could ask us to come as late as the first meeting in August. We generally send the library board president and the library director to present the budget to city council. You might consider as a board that the current president is the counselor, and you might choose someone else to go and get that support in the room. But there's no reason that you can't all decide that you're all coming and all supporting and all talking. It's just usually done this way. Then we need to get that budget to the county by August 16, no later. So I always say August 15. This date is 45 days before the statutory requirement for the levy to be set for the county, if that makes sense. And we take care of that for you. So once you approve budget, I go to city council. Once they approve the budget, city administrator does the thing to the county, and it takes care of itself. While the county has that budget in their hands, they get basically 45 days to review it. I believe the joint powers agreement requires them to make a decision about accepting it by September 30th. During that time, they could ask us to come and appear and talk to them about the budget, and David Mills would probably have some insight about what their reason is, and you would decide also like who's going to represent us at the county. Is it everybody? Is it one person in addition to the commissioner and so on? Now, when we're talking about getting a budget passed for the library and also talking about the joint powers agreement, part of the agreement says if you create a budget library that is 5% or less than what you had the year before, they have to adopt it. They can ask us questions, but they have to accept it by their own agreement. And for that reason, in many years past, we always were striving to create that 5% or less type of budget. In the last few years, what I've seen is the projected insurance rate pushes us over the top. So being prepared with the story of what the budget increase is about is useful for whoever is presenting it.
Okay, and this is insurance for the building and the collection and everything. Okay.
And
Health
Oh,
staff.
and health insurance, of
Health
course.
all of it.
All of
Yeah,
it.
all of it. And FYI, we had a flood, so insurance premiums,
Yeah, you'll pay for that.
yeah. And like last year we set, so basically you're setting a not to exceed budget in May. We're agreeing that we're not going to ask for more money than this, but as the budget season goes on, we could come in and say we need less, and that's what we did last year. Okay. So the 5% is it is not a limit on what you can request, but you just understand that you don't have to have two agencies approve it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to fight for it in two places. There's something okay. Let's talk just for a second about city process with budgeting. So this has all been library process, what it looks like from our perspective. The city process for setting a budget, much like the county, is in the fall. It's in like August, September. And our insurance projections come in then, not now.
Oh,
So when I bring a budget to you, we are using projections that are given to us by the city. They're out of our control, and they're projections, they're estimates. That's for the staff and for the building. And so those figures, the final budget can shift like it did last year. It went down significantly in health insurance. And so we got a chance to talk about it again before we set it here. And the city's ultimate budget package, whatever that is, went to the county. And it pretty much described the council's, the commissioner process in terms of they're working on getting everything together basically in August as well. Hopefully I did that well.
really well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I missing something? Something that would be helpful
I
to
don't
you?
think so.
No? Okay, so I did provide to everybody half of the extra sheets of paper, right? I did provide to you a completed December expenditure guideline so that you've got some time to be thinking or asking me questions about last year's budget and where it landed, and just thinking about what we might need to do differently in the upcoming budget, which I'll present to you some scenarios. And I gave you where the budget landed. And I guess I would just say, prepare for that number to be above 5%, because we have to start back over with the insurance set to the levels that we are not to our not to exceed projection. Oh, look, here's my paper. There's all the bullet points.
See if you missed anything.
I think it was pretty thorough.
Trust your memory.
Yeah. Well, did my prep work. It's looking good to me. And I can give you this if it helps. Yeah. Okay. Then we can move on to Kevin, if you'd like to the next item.
Yes, we'll move on to strategic planning, review of the plan and discuss next steps.
Okay. So we adopted our strategic plan in February, and I'm feeling April is a nice quarterly mark to check in about what's happened so far. The first thing I want to cover is just spreading the word and communicating the plan. So at this point, a copy has been shared with staff, with city department heads, and with city council. The plan is also on our website. And on my to-do list, I'd really like to follow through with our focus group participants and let all of them know, show them the value of their work and what the plan resulted as. And I'm trying to think of story, how this would be a story for the press release, and also to get the information to county commissioners. So I might touch base with David and see what kind of vehicle would be preferred or appreciated for doing that. One thing that I have not done yet that I'm trying to get myself aligned for is a staff roundup. I want to be able to meet with our staff and go through the plan with each of them and start creating an action plan for what we're going to do this year and kind of what our approach will be and delegate the tasks and that sort of thing. And I'm feeling like a library closure might allow us to do that as a group, which would be a really grounding activity. So I'm just asking for permission to, at my discretion, close for up to 1 day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want a motion on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of, up at Amanda's discretion to close the library, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you. Then the next piece would be sort of going through the focus areas and just touching base on any work that I can see is already being done or has been done. And kind of in particular, we're going to need to discuss what the board activities will be for focus area 2. Starting with area 1, the library inspires robust community involvement. Again, just expressing that, like, my thinking cap is on about how to relate to businesses. And also I've been checking on how to approach the J1 visa action. That's kind of it without having connected with my staff. Also, I have Patrick on the line for working on a community survey, which I think really needs to happen before a lot of the work as well. Focus area 2 is financial resources. And I think it would benefit us. This could be this meeting or next meeting to have board discuss kind of what your feeling is needed or wanted as a starting point, especially in terms of providing training for new board members on their role. I should say any board members in their role in capital planning. If you have any particular feelings about what your annual board review of contributions and levied funds might look like, in terms of like, what would you have the director prepare to meet this action requirement? Do you have any specific requirements or thoughts about how we're publicizing quarterly and annual updates? Do you have requirements for me to be giving you certain information? So just some things to think about there. And I'll pause and let you chat.
are there trainings for board members, for example, on capital planning? For example, I don't know, maybe something in general for people in Minnesota who are on library boards, or Arrowhead might have a training for everybody in this region.
I don't know the answer, but I can research it.
Yeah.
So
you know,
are you looking for boards in general or library boards?
library boards.
For boards in general, possibly Blandin Foundation would have some resources.
I found a whole bunch of resources. Mostly related to churches right now, but it's not that much different. Of course, everybody wants to sell you a plan.
Yeah.
the aides or whatever help me with it.
Sure. But there are a lot of libraries in Minnesota that have library boards, and it stands, of course, just because it stands to reason doesn't mean that it exists. But
Well, we could create one up here, charge all the libraries to come up here to
Yeah.
boards
Yeah.
to do a retreat.
That is true. I'm also wondering, I feel like I need to read the Minnesota Library Trustee Handbook.
yeah, I should go back
I
and
bet
read it
that's where we
too.
start, right?
Yeah, I should go back and read it too. It's on my
I
shelf.
wonder what's in there. So maybe
I
do that
You know,
as an activity. Should I
yeah,
suggest it, not tell you what to do?
I can go back and look. I'm not remembering that there was a lot.
Mhm.
It's just
In
sort
this
of an
area.
overview, but it'd be worth going back to look at it again.
Yeah, we could do that before the next meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
If we did, or if we even found like a YouTube video of, that's put out by the national or on one of their websites. If we wanted to watch it together as a group, would that be considered a meeting and would it have to be public?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can turn on a YouTube video right here, though.
Yeah.
During your meeting, we don't have equipment in this room to stream it back, but the owl will probably pick some of it up, and we can also link to the video.
Mhm.
But if it's YouTube, you could probably
Yeah.
get it in an email and then discuss at the meeting. So definitely there are options there. Yeah. If we're all in a room, we have to publicize it 72 hours in advance.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Area 3, I feel, has the most activity already generated. And this is the library provides staff and leadership the environment and resources that they need to provide quality service. So for example, the lighting project is one action item and it is already underway. Replacing 5 technology or furniture items to improve staff productivity. I feel that the spigot that we're trying to replace is also a part of this conversation. It's an issue for us being able to take care of the gardens out front. Also, we cannot do our carpets or upholstery cleaning until I have water. You can't do the work without the parts. But I also would point out that the way that we use this library on a daily basis, staff, the way that we use the library on a daily basis and the public, we're actually wanting to remove some furniture.
Mhm.
And maybe doing some of that. For example, this room used to, like if you looked at the original schematics, they have these really gorgeous little pods of cushy furniture like the couch over yonder and, the little end tables in the middle set up for, 2 people to sit and converse or 3 people in a little group or something. And there's a little pod. But because we do such a high volume of programming, it all gets pushed into the middle of the room like a landing strip. And so we are not only putting wear on the carpet and our backs by constantly moving these pieces of furniture that were meant to be stationary, like out of the way,
Mhm.
but people don't use them because it's just not how to use the space. This campfire set out in the front is another one of those situations where it's a gorgeous setup, but the way that people use the space, you might see 1 or 2 people sitting there for a brief time, and it actually takes up a large floor footprint. Another thing in this area is a 10-year plan for the facility, and I provided a pretty hearty list of projects we could consider as we do capital planning or this area. And I wanted to update you that Shane Steele, who I work with on the air source heat pump project, has invited Jamar to give us an updated quote. And they are going to give us 2 quotes. They're going to say, here's the cost to finish the project, and here's the cost to do it in two more parts. So what we did originally was we did like 1/3 of the library. So he'll give us, here's another 1/3 of the library, and here's if you just get it done. And then we'll have some numbers to work with.
Mhm.
Number 4 focus area is about underrepresented and underserved parts of the county. And action items include things like promoting Mail a Book and conducting pop-up library events and hosting events that attract the groups that are identified, but it was intended to do the survey from focus area 1 to be able to inform focus area 4. So there's not a lot of activity here.
Mhm.
In terms of staff getting organized and thinking about things in a fresh way with the new plan and then executing that. That's my presentation to give you an update on how we're doing with the strategic plan. Do you have any feedback for me?
I have a quick question. On focus area 3, the elective training opportunity annually, is that for
Yeah,
all staff members, full-time staff members, part-time staff members?
absolutely everyone
Oh,
on
good.
staff.
That's great.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be related to providing quality service. So I certainly consider PLA being my elective training for the year. I'm not sure how Erica feels about Miles. She's about to go, to the Leadership Excellence Training Program, about that being her elective for the year. Well, we can talk about that. But, and then connecting with staff to see where others are wanting to train or study. Last year, Cook County Higher Ed hosted some fantastic workshops on mental health first aid.
Mhm.
Erica went to the one for youths. I went to the one for adults, and we had a frontline staff person who was very interested and excited to go. And I just thought it was an excellent opportunity and great for customer service to support that. So that's an example of something that someone might come up with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would you have it be, is it a responsibility of the staff member to find something to go to, or how are you going to work that?
So that would be a great topic of conversation for the staff meeting that we haven't had. Because I do think that with the staff that I have, they each have an interest, an area of interest that we can use as a starting point. And I think some of them are going to have a clear idea and some might
Mhm.
maybe could want more support, but I can do either.
We'll know more after a survey and after some meetings.
Yeah. Okay. Do you need anything on the agenda next month that you'd like to discuss further regarding the strategic plan? Would you like to keep the conversation going, touching base about whatever it is you find in the handbook, or
Yeah, I think it would
I
be
think that would be
useful.
good.
and if you find any YouTube videos, I can share them out for you if you send me the link. Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Anybody else have anything? We're at the end of the agenda. And I will go by tradition now and say we're adjourned.
Oh, we don't have to move to adjourn.
No,
This has been a long-standing discussion.
there's two things. And we've discussed this, yes.
Okay, so that's fine. I believe you.
If you have adopted an agenda, the chairman can, as we get to the end, the chairman can adjourn
Ah.
without going anywhere else.
Okay. I believe you, Kevin.
But we